It's really not easy these days to obtain finance for any purpose, especially with the onset of COVID. But this is especially true for commercial loans, whether you're wanting to buy a commercial property, refinance a property, develop land and so forth. In this video, I'll go over what I consider the most important items you'll need to have polished and ready to go before applying for a commercial loan. And this will give you the best chance of getting that much needed approval. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, Doug Cotton here from Untitled Group, your property finance specialist, where I talk everything finance for commercial property investors and developers. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now everyone applies for a loan for different reasons, and the information the lender asks for will very much depend on that person's circumstances and what they need the funds for. However, there are standard items that most lenders will ask for when first assessing your application. Keeping in mind that if your loan is approved, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a done deal. There's usually more work to do. See, a lender will normally issue you with an approval letter, or what's called a letter of offer, which will outline the terms of a loan as well as certain conditions to be met prior to the funds being advanced. Now, I'm going to go over the standard information requirements that you need to have ready and polished before applying for that loan. And this is in no particular order of importance. So the first questions you'll always be asked are, what do you need the funds for? How much do you need? And how do you intend to pay back the funds? Or what is your exit strategy? If you're looking to buy a property, then you'll want to put to the lender why you want to buy that property. Is it to live in, or is it an investment property? If it's a housing investment, what rental will you advertise on a weekly basis? If it's a commercial property, what is it and what's the tenancy profile? What condition is the building in? If it's a specialised property like a childcare facility, it wouldn't hurt to go over some industry-specific accounting ratios. Will you pay back the loan over a longer term with interest to be met from rental? Or will you sell another asset to pay the loan in the short term? Here you can use a CV or resume, but you very much want to customise it so that it goes over your working history and experience as it relates to what you're needing the money for. For example, if you're applying for a construction loan to, say, subdivide lots, any experience that shows that you're ambitious and capable. The big part here is whether you've developed anything similar in the past. If not, it's not the end of the world. You could develop a story so you've taken the natural progression from, say, house renovation to splitter blocks to this being your first multi-lot subdivision. The lender will want your financials and tax returns to help determine your income sources, as well as what your assets and liabilities are. Most lenders will ask for the last 2 years' worth of figures to see if there's any trend from 1 year to the next. You want to make sure your accountant has these ready, at least in draft form, if you're worried about having to deal with a tax liability earlier than you would have liked. If there's any non-recurring or extraordinary items from 1 year to the next, such as a one-off expense or a large liability, you want to have an explanation ready if asked. No matter your circumstances or how complicated your ownership of certain assets and liabilities are, you want to include as many details as possible in your personal statement of position. Assets could include anything from property, business goodwill or equity, shares, personal effects, your super fund balance, any motor vehicles and so forth. Liabilities could include a home loan, commercial loans, personal loans, car leases, credit cards, tax debts, and so forth. See, a beefed up statement will really help demonstrate to the lender that you have multiple assets to lean on if there's ever an issue. Also, no matter how inconsequential, small or negligible a debt is, make sure to include it. Most lenders will reconcile your assets and liabilities across your financials, as well as credit searches. You'll save time and embarrassment having to explain things you might have left out of your statement of position. Now, of course, there's a lot more information a lender will ask for, but in my opinion, these are the most important bits of information you need to have ready and polished before you apply for a loan. Now, if this is the first time you've had to apply for a commercial loan, then check out the video links in the screen now where I go into detail what exactly a commercial mortgage is, as well as the options you have in terms of the banks and non-bank lenders. And I'll see you soon.